Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of the UK Connection. We call it the UK Connection because, of course, here in the Zoom with me, as always, Simon Bray and Steven Reid. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you here on this Saturday evening by you, afternoon by me? How's things?
This is the best Saturday I've ever had.
Yes. You know, I just said it's Saturday afternoon, but it looks dark as shit out. Do I look really dark here? I think I need to turn on another light because, of course, all we ever have here are thunderstorms all the time. So, of course, it's black as night out, and even though it is in the middle of the afternoon. But there we go. Now I look like it could be any time.
It's been reasonably pleasant here over the past few days, which, judging by the fact this will not go out when we're recording it, may or may not be factual. Who knows?
You never know. You never know. It always looks like it's sunny at Simon's house. It's always... I'm sure
that's because of the lighting on this Wednesday evening. Let's not bullshit the people. Come on.
It's because of his warm disposition, you see. That's the glow from his heart that you're seeing, Pete.
People keep saying that I'm confused, and I know that today's Wednesday. And part of the reason I am confused is because I don't know which Saturdays this shit goes out on.
I know, right? That's so we do this so far ahead of time that, like, yeah.
To be fair, that's not always the only reason you're confused.
No, confused is my default position.
And if he has a couple of high octane stouts before we start recording, he gets even more confused, right?
Not allowed to mention beer,
we'll see in a second. Simon, what are you drinking? Well, let's get to the beer in a second. But of course, today is ranking the songs on a classic album. That album is Y&T Earthshaker. But there it is, Steven. Well, so I have a copy too, but I didn't dig it out of my pile. So, but yeah, I did have that as well. So we'll get to that in a couple of minutes. But beforehand, for all of you who are watching your watch or your clock to see when we start talking about the music, you can kind of put us on mute for now. Simon, what are you drinking today?
I went to Charlie the other day, and I got me a beer, and I thought, oh, it comes from Clonfert, and it kind of does. And Clonfert, of course, is best known for being where Brief Encounter was filmed. Yes, it was really was. Actually, some water, but I got some old school brewery textbook. They make beers with like Headmaster and Detention and shit like that. This is a blonde. I poured it earlier. Yeah, I've got to realize that my camera's up there. No, I don't know if I look stupid. So yeah, Steven.
I know. I was just saying, hold your beer up.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
That looks really good.
Hold it up high.
And this is definitely not a glass that I stole from holiday. Okay, excellent. Good times. Cheers. Yeah, textbook, old school brewery. Enjoy.
Nice. That looks good.
Nice.
Okay, well, I have been previously to the Wasted Degrees Brewery in Perth, or Perthshire, as it says here, and I've sampled the beers, and they're very good. So today, I'm sampling the very succinctly named Perthshire cider. That's exactly what it says on the tin, I presume. It says 2022 vintage, and on the back it says store cold, drink fresh. So yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. I've stored it cold, and I'm drinking it fresh.
Cool. Steven.
Yes.
Perthshire cider.
Yep.
I mean, seriously, they can make cider up there? Apples and shit like that. That's very Wicker Man-ish. Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
I can grow apples in my garden.
Holy shit. They don't come in a can or anything like that, no?
No. I mean, I know this isn't like cider country, but it's not like it's not like the apocalypse has happened here. We can grow trees.
Just checking. Is it always like really cold up there?
Oh yeah, it's chilled. Absolutely.
Dark for 24 hours a day.
I still can't
only
get
for 11 months of a year.
Wicker Man-ish.
It's very tasty. Remarkably, it's very appley.
As it should be, right?
As it should be.
I've had ciders that don't taste like apples at all, and I'm like, what is this crap? Yeah, come on.
There are some out there, yes.
All right, so I have a beer brought to me by my brother who lives in New Jersey. It's from the Source Brewing Company. Let me try and pronounce this. It's called Wagwan Nitro Tropical Stout Ale with blue agave, chocolate, banana, coconut, and vanilla. This is the can. And it is a nitro stout. So and then when you pour it, it's been poured for a couple of minutes already, but it looks kind of like that. I have it in my wonderful Newcastle Werewolf glass. And 7.5 is a little high for me, but
sleepy bedtime for Peter. Yeah.
That's lovely. Hints of chocolate, a little bit of vanilla. I can kind of taste the coconut. I can taste a little kind of fruitiness to it. That's really good.
I think it needs a banana sticking out of the glass just for effect, though, does it not?
I think so.
Could you just show us the can again, please?
Yes.
So I can see the name.
Yep.
Yeah. The dial climate, did it? Is that clear?
Wagwan. I don't know what the fuck that means.
So I just thought you'd become like a teenager from around Wagwan, innit? You know what I mean? I just really thought.
Canned fresh from the source in Colts Neck, New Jersey. Colts Brewing Company. Yeah. Here's the there's the instructions. It tells you what to do. So you gotta shake it a little loose tonight. And then you gotta turn it upside down, pour it in.
We'll be demonetized at any moment here.
Shake It Loose. It's one of the songs on the album we're going to talk about.
There you go.
There you go. All right. So speaking of the album, who wants to kick it off today with a little discussion of this album?
Well, I shall blather some nonsense about the album itself. So this is Earthshaker by Y&T. This is pre the classic logo. They haven't found the classic logo yet. And it's a naff cover. I keep putting my hand over this, and it really, at that point, it's just really boring. Do that, and it's still.
Oh, it's awful. Come on, let's not mince words here. It's a terrible album.
And the guys on the back, this looks like some band from the 60s or something that's on the go here. But anyway, moving along. So this was released on June the 30th, 1981. It was the band's first album through A&M Records, but it was their third album overall, although it was their first under the name Y&T. They were Yesterday and Today up until this point. So it was produced by Bob Shulman and David Seif and Y&T. Who knows how much involved they really were. And it had the classic, I would suggest, band lineup of Dave Meniketti on lead vocals and guitar, Joey Alves on guitars, Phil Kennemore on bass and lead vocals on one track, which is Squeeze, and Leonard Hayes on drums. Quite amazingly, I don't think this charted anywhere. From what I can find out, it didn't make a dent here, or certainly in the UK or in the US or anywhere else. And it was the band's fifth album, Main Street, before they kind of get any album chart success. And even that was pretty modest. And Y&T have been a band that has been part of my musical life from really when I've known music. So that amazed me that they really didn't have, by 80s terms, any success really until a little later on.
Yeah, I think even here, like Mean Street basically kind of put them on the map, although people were talking about them, like metal fans were kind of talking about them with Black Tiger, but this album didn't do anything. I had never even heard of this band when this album came out. So yeah, and you know, they had a little bit of success in the mid 80s. They started to get a little more commercial sounding, bordering on kind of hair metal, and they had some videos on MTV, and you know, you would hear like Summertime Girls on the radio. You would hear, you know, some stuff from the album before, Mean Street, on the radio too as well. But never a big band, never a gold or platinum band here, and they always, to my knowledge, you know, now they headline small clubs, but like back in the 80s, they were always an opener, never a headliner.
There will be people aghast on Twitter that I'm sitting here and not picking up on the hair metal thing, but let's move on. It's a different discussion. But yes, I understand what you mean. I mean, Leonard Hayes was wearing eyeshadow on the back of Down for the Count, so let's not go there.
Yeah. I think for them it was more the never the look, because they never did the you know, they had the big hair for a bit, but it was more about the just kind of the commercial hard rock, very accessible, lots of hooks, and they definitely started doing more ballads and softer stuff for a while. But I don't know, the early stuff is, and as we'll talk about, especially this album, this is serious business here, right? This is a serious album. So
yeah. I
so
mean,
as
there are
always,
people who will argue that Black Tiger or Mean Streak are the classic. I would be happy with any three of them. To be fair, this is just the one that we went for.
I would agree. Just to throw it out there, this has been my favorite for quite a while. But I wouldn't argue Black Tiger or Mean Streak at all, because to me, all three are those are the quintessential Y&T albums, in my opinion. So any one of the three,
this being my favorite as well.
Yeah. So as always, we rank the songs as we like them. There are 10 tracks on this particular album, and I'll turn it over to Simon for any last words before we start the countdown.
Yeah. Don't we normally do some vague context stuff?
We do, Simon. We do. Fire away.
Yeah,
that's good, because I think I emailed you yesterday and said something about doing extensive research. Now, I haven't done any for this album until about while you were talking just now. So, hot off the press, completely forgot to do that shit this week. I've been so busy doing other large amounts of nothingness this week. Yeah. However, I thought, mainly because it's the week I can find, because I've been genuinely trying to think, why did this album not sell? And then I look, the week before this album came out, #1 in the UK album chart was No Sleep Till Hammersmith. That's pretty uncommercial shit, isn't it?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Other albums around at the time. Phil Collins, Face All You, Duran Duran. Oh no, Kings of the Wild Frontier. Oh, dearie. High Infidelity. There you go. Now we're talking. Yeah, Shaking Stevens. Did he translate Across the Pond? Yeah.
No.
Really?
That doesn't surprise you, Simon. Come on now.
It genuinely doesn't.
What was the name of his album?
It's called. It's This Old House. So yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, yes, indeed. I mean, Dire Straits were there. Bruce was there. Teardrop Explodes were there. They were big hits across the pond. Sky 3, The Beat. It's an absolute festival of Hazel O'Connor of UK. Angelic Upstarts. Because very often we find, do we not, that it's pretty much the same stuff in UK and US. I feel like we might diverge here. Echo and the Bunnymen. In Squeeze, all in Magazine, Grover Washington, all in the top 40. But this, nowhere to be seen ever. So yeah, Contact. You would have thought, given some of those names, it may have stood a chance somewhere, but apparently not. So yeah, that was around in the UK at the time.
Looking at the US charts, it's easy to see why it didn't sell, because there's lots of competition.
Yeah.
But it's also difficult to see why it didn't sell, because I'll just read out the top 10. I only went top 10 for the week this album was released, because I don't really need to go much further. #1 is Kim Carnes with Mistaken Identity, which is all right. It's okay. Then you've got one of the ones we'll cross over on, High Infidelity by REO Speedwagon. Then we have Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap by AC/DC, which I presume is still riding on the coattails of Back in Black, probably getting its first US release, because it was released in 76, I would guess. Yeah. Paradise Theatre by Styx at #4. Fair Warning by Van Halen at #5. Our Promises by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers at #6. Then you've got the Moody Blues with Long Distance Voyager at #7. Phil Collins with Face Value at #8. I don't have a problem with Phil Collins, I'll just put that out there now. Then we have Santana at #9 with Z-Bop. And at #10, we've got Rush with Moving Pictures. I mean, that's a stellar top 10 album chart. I mean, there's always going to be a couple in there that you think, yeah, but really, I'd listen to anything from that. That is quite insane. And that fits right in with that kind of chart, I think. It fits right in there with Van Halen and AC/DC and maybe even Rush to some extent and all that sort of stuff. But the competition was fierce, wasn't it? The competition was so fierce at this stage that if you just didn't get that break, there was so much stuff out there that everything just washed past you.
And dare I say, the record label maybe didn't quite know what to do with them yet, right?
Well, I think it's interesting because looking to do a little bit of research on this and various things, is I kept seeing the two words heavy and metal with this next to this album, and I've never viewed this as a heavy metal album. I know that that was a more all-encompassing phrase back then. I mean, if you bought Kerrang in 1981, heavy metal ranged from Genesis, who were now a chart band, all the way through to Slayer, realistically. Everything in that was classed as, we'll cover it in a heavy metal magazine.
Yeah.
But this is a hard rock album, in my opinion, with a few heavy metal hints. It verges on it in places. But if it was marketed as heavy metal, well, it was going to miss the mark, wasn't it, really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, all that being said, what do we got? 10 tracks you want to do? We'll do 3, 3, and 3, 3, 3, and 1. So, Simon, your bottom 3, I guess.
Okay. 3, 3, 3, and 1. That won't fuck me up at all. Right. So let's be honest. The reason why we're doing this is the only Y&T album I've got. Somebody paps on about Y&T endlessly. There you go. Well, my name's Steven, and I've got a Y&T fetish. And I have no idea why. I have never really gone looking for Y&T. You know, you're right, Stephen. They were never out of Kerrang for a long period, were they? I just never felt the urge to go down the Y&T route until just the other week with that little nagging voice on my shoulder, that little nagging Scottish voice. Then I saw it. I saw this in the wilderness in Ramsbottom. Yes, in a Greater Manchester. Yes, and I saw it, and it was just 5 of my Earth pounds. I thought, I've got to have that. Got to have it. So I did. And I am paying so little attention that it's about 24 hours ago that I didn't realize that it was isn't called Earthquake. So I feel like I've learned something recently. Yeah. So this is a great sounding record.
Yeah.
It just really is. There's so much space between the instruments, the risk of once again turning into old man mode. Old modern records, they sound so big and so loud and so compressed and brick wall. But this is just such a good sounding record. Oh, look, some drums, there's a guitar over there, another there. Oh, bass player. Oh, fantastic. Really good sounding record. Well done, world. I like it. It's the classic. I'll be honest, I don't think it's a classic record for the ages, but I have thoroughly enjoyed my time with Not Earthquake, as I like to call it. Yeah. Yes. So, although it came out, you remember when we discussed the Rossington Collins band, and Stephen said correctly, it didn't sound like an 80s record.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hazard a guess that Not Earthquake was recorded in the late part of the 70s, which is why to me it's a very 70s sounding record. And don't they just look so 70ish on the bikes? You said 60s, but I'm gonna go with 70s, and I can't remember what that kind of thing's called.
It looks 77, Simon. It looks 77 to me.
Very much so.
It's the kind of finish on the photograph that looks older. Do you know what I mean? It's the way that it's been filtered or whatever.
Yeah. They're like they're wearing white powder.
Yes, they look like a 70s band. Yeah.
So
yeah,
it to me it's a very 70s record. It to me sounds a bit Sammy Hagar-ish, maybe Montrose-ish, that sort of thing. 2 of the bands I've never thoroughly investigated, to be honest. But anyway, let's go with the number shot. My 9 is Knock You Out, which is I've written in my notes because I've actually met some quite no wobbling me. Yes, this is lyrically quite weak. I think I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to knock you out. Not much else to say for itself. But the playing is absolutely exemplary, and that's a thing all the way through. Yeah, were they too good? Were they too good for commercial success? Hey, I give you Poison. I give you Motley Crue.
Yeah, but then in the US charts this week there was Van Halen. I mean, those folks
exactly
not that far removed, right? Yeah,
and to me, not that far removed. They were the band that when I looked at that top 10 that made you think, yeah, okay, there was an appetite for this kind of stuff. I mean, Y&T and Van Halen are very different. But there's enough strands there to make you think that if you liked one, there was a good chance you might like the other.
Yeah. I think that is my weakest link. My 80s Let It Go, which I think is quite kind of Dio-esque. That's what I sort of went for, quite muscular, kind of creeping up towards being metallic, and then going, ooh, I think I'll stick within my hard rock lane, or my classic rock, which it probably is now, isn't it? Everything's now classic rock, isn't it? Certainly over it. It's just good 70s influence hard rock. It's really solid efforts. There's nothing on this that you go, that's shite. Nothing at all, as far as I can see. And my next number, which must be something else, is I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Number 8, Simon. Number 8.
Yeah. Thanks for that. I do need an 8, don't I? I was scribbling and playing around, and yeah. What for had? I've had knock you out. I've had
Let me go.
Let me go. Hurricanes moved around about 38 times. Hurricane is not the next one. Young and Tough. There we go. I knew you'd get there eventually. And I really like Young and Tough. I really do. It's really nice opening riff, very anthemic. It's a bit repetitive. So tough. Young and Tough. And I remember the very first time I listened to that, I thought, where the heck is this going? She's young. Oh God, what's next? My God, because it's 70s, 80s. Well, please. Oh, she's tough. That's okay. I think we can get away with that. That's fine. Yeah. But again, really, really well played. Really, good stuff. There's nothing on this that I really loathe, which is quite unusual. So, don't you find? So yeah, there we go. Knock It Out. Let Me Go. Young and Tough. There we go.
Okay.
All right.
So yes, I suppose that this album being in this show is my fault. Or a better turn the phrase. I love this album and I love this band and I always have. And I don't really think. I mean, there's ups and downs across the catalogue. I don't think they made a bad album personally.
I would agree.
Yep. But anyway, number 10 for Earthshaker, I've gone with Squeeze. This is, Simon's mentioned Montrose. I'll maybe take it a step further back and say it's an updated Zeppelin stab more than anything else. To me, it's interesting because Simon has mentioned a lot that this feels very much like a 70s album, and I get that. I completely understand it. I think this is a 70s album that is building a bridge to the 80s. I think there's a foot in both camps here. This is not just an album out of time, in my humble opinion. This was an album that was already kind of setting trends, but just nobody heard it, so it couldn't really. But there you go. It's fast, it's furious. I mean, there's a bit of groove added in the pre-chorus. It's maybe the only track I call a little one-dimensional on the album. I don't dislike anything on this album. But rest assured, that, and I'm going to bore everyone with saying this, because the guitar work is just phenomenal. And the drumming is as good as you'll find anywhere. Leonard Hayes was just amazing. It's quite bizarre to be reminded that there's only one member of this band still alive.
Yeah.
Or one member of this lineup still with us. So that's a real sad thing to be reminded of. So Squeeze is maybe the only track on this album that doesn't kind of stick with me once I've finished it. Number 9 is also Let Me Go. It's kind of cool mid-pace track. It's maybe a little uneventful compared to some of the other songs on the album, but there's great guitar work and a memorable chorus, and this band could write you a memorable chorus right across their career. The chorus just is there. I mean, this song does nothing wrong. There just happens to be better to come. And number 8 for me is Shake It Loose. I mean, the groove in the chorus is just so infectious there. And I don't know why, but Leonard Hayes, maybe because Y&T never made it, but he's never kind of considered in the conversation of great drummers. I mean, the fact that on the back of this album he's credited with drums and insanity maybe explains an awful lot about Leonard Hayes, but there you go. But man, could he play. You know, he's utterly pummeling the drums, but never for the sake of it. He's not just showing off. He's not just hitting hard. He plays for the song, but he's vital to what's going on. He never loses the groove. The bass drum work is just outstanding from him all the time. And to me, he's the standout of this song. And I would suggest that, and I'm going a lot of years down the line, when he was booted out of Y&T, they became a different thing entirely. That changed an awful lot of what the band were about at that point. But anyway, so that's my 10, 9, and 8.
So Butch Jones from the Hudson Valley Squares has long said that Leonard Hayes has one of the best right foots in all of hard rock. And I wouldn't argue that at all.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely spot on.
Yep. So we interrupt this scheduled programming with a little announcement because I forgot to say at the top of the show. Many of you have asked for them. They are now available. We have UK Connection shirts available in the Sea of Tranquility merch store. We're not wearing them yet because we haven't gotten ours yet, but we will on the next episode, hopefully. So if you go down below in the video description, there's the link to the SOT merch page. You can get them from Amazon as well. We do have UK Connection shirts. Very, very cool. Beer and music combined, and we have them in a couple of different designs, or colors. So go check those out. I hope you guys like them. So anyway, back to the music. So I want to touch on something that you both have brought up. And to me, when I listen to this album, especially this album, you're spot on in saying this sounds like a 70s album, from the production to the way the songs are arranged and everything, the guitar tone. When I hear this album, to me, this is like what the second or third Montrose album should have sounded like. Mm-hmm. Because I think Dave kind of sounds like a young Sammy. And the guitar tone and the way the riffs are set up is so Ronnie Montrose from that first Montrose album. Not the lead guitar work, because I think Medicaid's a terrific lead guitar player. Not that Ronnie wasn't, because Ronnie totally was, but they're very, very different. But man, I hear this album and I'm thinking, man, this is what I really wanted from that second Montrose album. So anyway, now that I got that out of the way, I'm going to bring up Montrose a couple times in this. So my number 10 is Young and Tough, which is one of the couple kind of sleazy kind of party anthems on this album, which I think to me predates what they would do after Mean Streak. I think they would start to do more of that type of thing. So really, when you think about it, this is 81, right? So this is kind of before all that kind of,
That's what I mean by it kind of sets the tone in ways for what might come.
Yeah, exactly. So I totally agree. It's not one of my favorites on the album, but I think it's fun, as most of this album is really solid to great, in my opinion. It's my favorite Y&T album. So that's my number 10. My number 9 is Shake It Loose, which is kind of like their hard rock and boogie track. Again, it's very 70s sounding, like, again, to bring up Montrose. Montrose had a couple of those kind of tunes on that debut album, right? This kind of like heavy rock boogie type of thing. And his guitar tone just absolutely slays on this song. So that's my number 9. And number 8, I'm going to go with Let Me Go. And humor me a little, guys, but every time I listen to this song, you know what I think? The riffing reminds me of early Kiss. It's kind of simple. It's effective. It's catchy. The chorus is really cool. Not an earth-shattering song altogether, but a good like party anthem. And I think, again, it sounds so 70s, right? It's amazing how much different their sound would get with the next couple of albums as we start to move into the 80s. But yeah, those are my bottom 3, but they're all really good. Young and Tough, number 10, Shake It Loose, number 9, and Let Me Go, number 8. Back to Simon.
Right, I've rewritten everything. Even I can't fuck it up from here. Right, so 7, shit. Yes, Stephen. Yes, I can. No. I really can. I probably can screw it up. 7, Shake It Loose. It's a fun tune. It's kind of throwaway, but it's definitely bouncy and fun. Guitar solo is absolutely excellent, which I think elevates what could be a throwaway tune, something that's pretty good. I like that. Yeah, I like the guitar work all the way through this album. I like it on Squeeze, which is my 6. More great soloing. Phil Kennemore sung this song, I believe.
That's correct.
Yes.
I love the scream.
Yeah.
Screams are awesome. No, those are proper screams. Those are the kind of thing, that you... Yeah, let's not go down that route. It reminds me of a train pounding down the tracks. It's just pounding. I think, yeah, all right, yeah. You walking the dog as I do when I'm doing most of these listening to things. I'm thinking, yeah, come on, try and pull me some more, you little shit. Go on, go, yeah, because I can't, because I'm up for it. Yeah, pounding away. Yeah, really good stuff. And from here on in, I think it's a really good shit. Hurricane is my 5. It's a bit like a hurricane. Oh, that's really cheap, Simon, but absolutely authoritative guitar work throughout. The opening riff, and I think we're delving kind of into the metallic front at this point. And again, the guitar work is just spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
Really is. You know, where have these people been in my life? I'll tell you now, I have no intention of running out and buying everything they've ever met, but I'm really, really pleased to. I would if I saw that little box set where they're all in. But,
You get it. I would say you need to get the next 2 albums, if nothing else.
Well, next time I go to Ramsbottom,
there you go.
Not why. I'll be looking out for why ampersand's tea.
Home of wine tea.
You know it makes sense, but just the guitar work throughout is just so good. Don't leave, Pete.
I'm not. It's just now all of a sudden the sun is out, so it's like I got unnecessary lights here. I'm like,
thought you were reaching for your t-shirts, but no. Oh well, yeah. I think we're in the realms of the really good stuff now.
Yeah.
Hurricane's the one that I've been thinking. Oh, I really like that. I want to push it up. And if we've done this 24 hours from now, it may well have been number 1. It's the one I've been going back to all day.
Yeah.
But it's the one that we're doing on this Saturday night.
Yes.
Next.
So my number 7 is Knock You Out. I mean, even the songs in the lower half of my ranking, they still feel pretty special to me. There's so much. I mean, we've spoken about guitar attacking and guitar tone. I think it's the urgency that kind of reminds me of that kind of Montrose sort of feel. There's a real up and at 'em feel about all of the guitar work. Nothing is kind of laboured or lazy or even relaxed. The riffs are always biting, always just gnawing away. It's such an energy.
To put it bluntly, Steven, there's no fucking around. I mean, there's nothing wasted on this album.
Yeah. But I mean, it's
41 minutes. It's concise.
Yes.
Simon wins the Simon bingo. Yes.
And I like bits in Knock You Out. I'm a sucker for a cheesy bit. I'm gonna knock you out. I love that little pause. I love the pause, and then they punch it on the Knock You Out. I'm easy pleased. Do you know? I mean, like Shake It Loose, which was the song that I had down before this. It's maybe the most adventurous thing that you're ever going to hear. But I always think that when Y&T did that, they knew it. Because those are the 2 songs that are under 3 minutes on this album, and the only 2 that are under 3 minutes. Yeah. So, to quote Pete, they don't fuck around. Do you know, this is a simple, straight-ahead rock song with some great guitar playing, great rhythm work. But that's what it is. Let's get in, let's get out, and let's move on. I like that. They don't stretch those kind of songs out. They do stretch other ones out. Number 6 for me, Young and Tough. This is full-on swagger mode. Do you know, I really think that this band had a proper ability to infuse the attitude of the kind of the song and the lyric and the way that it's arranged and the way that it hits home. Actually, this one maybe doesn't have the guitar pyrotechnics or the dynamics that are shown elsewhere. But I mean, the solo is still cool as hell. Do you know? It's strutting and it's cool. It's got a great feel and it's got a great mood. It's great. Can you tell? Number 5 is Dirty Girl. And I love the drums in this. I love those thumping drums. I mean, the bass drum thunders. The toms clatter. Simon mentioned it right at the top of the show there. Don't make albums that sound like this anymore.
Yeah.
The toms, they don't sound perfect, but man, oh man, do they work. They're powerful. I don't need them to sound as if someone's manufactured this sound for 3 weeks to go boom, boom, boom and get a tom sound. They go, but it's so good. The whole drum is just lord over this song. But then the bass guitar locks in tight. And this is a mid-paced track, but same again, there's a real urgency to it. And then there's gently chiming guitars. It dials it right back in. and the rhythm section do all the work, and then the guitar solo just builds and builds and builds, and it's just kind of cranking the handle. The whole song just it's a slow start, and then by the end of it, you're like, yes. But there you go. So I'm at number 5 here. I quite like this album. Can you tell?
I would agree with you. All right. My number 7 is Knock You Out. I mean, blistering hard rocker with some killer guitar fireworks from Meniketti, who, for my money, is so underrated as a guitar player. It's interesting. Back in like the mid 80s, maybe like 84, 85, maybe 86, there was this, I don't know if you guys remember this, and maybe it didn't make it over, over to your side of the world, but there was this kind of like competition going through the guitar magazines between Meniketti and Yngwie Malmsteen for a while, because Yngwie was getting all the press, and I think Meniketti was a little pissed off about it. So Meniketti would say things in a lot of these magazines. He'd be like, I'll have a shootout with Yngwie any day of the week. I would smoke him on his best day, that sort of thing. And it's just like, which I thought at the time was kind of weird, right? But he never got the acclaim of some of these other guys, but this guy is a killer player.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all the talk at this stage was about Eddie Van Halen, and you had guys like George Lynch and things about to kick around and all the sort of stuff. And Dave Meniketti, not back then and not now, is not brought up in these conversations. The guy is every bit as good. And I think the difference, maybe not so much with George, in my humble opinion, but compared to Yngwie, was he wrote songs.
Yeah.
Yngwie kind of structured songs or pieces of music where he could then show off in the middle of. None of the solos in Y&T songs sound like they're bolted onto the song.
Yeah, they're not gratuitous either. Yeah.
There's the solo now. None of this feels like that. And I will much more likely listen to something like this. Nothing wrong with Yngwie J. Malmsteen. I still add the J. I apologise. But there's nothing wrong with a bit of Yngwie Malmsteen. I would far rather listen to this personally than his player. Great player.
Well, I think his style has aged very well. Like, you listen to like these classic albums or even the more recent Y&T albums, and you hear him playing, you're like, he's it's not showy, but it's impressive, right? And I think that you can really, I don't know, I listen to Y&T now and I'm thinking, man, this guy was just so underrated all those years. And like, and the 80s was all about flash and, speed of light solos and tapping and whammy bar stuff. And he didn't do any of that. He just played. To me, he's kind of like the heavier rock version of like a Neil Schon, right? Just very, very underrated, very unique style, but like more of a classic type guitar player that just had the chops, but could play very melodically and write for the song and all that sort of thing. So I think he's one of these guys that, I don't know, 20 years from now, and hopefully he's still around, but 20 years from now, we may be looking back and saying, yeah, that Meniketti, he was one of the greats, but we didn't treat him as such back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And for me, warms my heart because the guy has always played Gibson Les Pauls into like a Marshall, right? Very simple and basic, and there's something to be said about that, right? I mean,
why, it sounds so damn good.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I got a few of them, right? I have this thing for guys who play Les Pauls. I mean, there's something about it, right? It's just this classic sound. So yeah. So Knock You Out, number 7, great song. Number 6 is Hurricane. Love Hurricane. Fast and Furious. I mean, Dave is just shredding his ass off on this one. I think if you want to hear like some like real Meniketti furious soloing, that's the song. And monstrous tone, and what a great vocal. I really like his vocals a lot. He, again, underrated as a guitar player, underrated as a singer as well. Number 5 is Squeeze. More Fast and Furious stuff. Again, the guitar playing is just killing it, and the drumming on Squeeze is killer. Again, this song and many of the songs on this album remind me of Montrose from the first album. Blazing lead guitars, the tone of everything, the drumming, just the presence of these songs just jump out at the speakers. So yeah, Knock You Out, Hurricane, and Squeeze. 7, 6, and 5. Back to Son.
4, Dirty Girl. I noticed, when I did a tiny little bit of research, they played this at their most recent concert, which I don't know whether or not this surprises me or not. Lyrically, it's a bit, it's a bit of its time, shall we say?
Yes.
Yep.
Black stockings and sexy legs. Ooh, baby, I like the way you move, but let me lay you down in the groove. Yeah.
Poetry.
Take from that whatever you wish. But
Well,
you know, the
rhymes.
rhythm section where misses. The rhythm section's really great on this one. It's really thumping and great. And there is a fine line between creeping, which the rhythm section does, and creepy, I think, and whether or not they get away with it now, I've no idea. But it's a fine example of 70s, early 80s rock, and I thoroughly enjoyed listening to it. Also, so some of the vocal choices that he makes in a few songs, hear me out, remind me of Eric Adams. Just
On the high pitched stuff, maybe a little bit.
yeah. I just think, there he goes. That's a bit Man-O-War.
Later on in my notes, so I'll do it now, for one of the
Go for it.
songs I've not named yet, I have written down that can anyone go, ow, 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 ooh, 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 like Dave Meniketti can. I mean, he's a walking vibrato machine. It's all.
How were you spelling that?
How did I spell that? There's a
Yeah,
lot of E's. There's a lot of
We'll
O's.
tackle
There's
that
one,
one.
two, and it
Okay,
starts
got
with a
it.
Y at the second part of it.
Got it. Thanks. Yeah.
I'll send that over to you at some point.
Thank
And
you.
really, if you haven't heard Y&T, Dave sounds just like that. So that's all good.
I urge any of our viewers to try and spell that, whatever that was.
Yeah.
I tell you what, if they come up with exactly the spelling that I've got, Simon will send them a T-shirt.
If only I had one. Yeah.
I didn't say it was one of our T-shirts.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll go down to Asda tomorrow and get a
He's got a John Parr in the cupboard that he's ready to
He'll send you John Parr's hand.
I've got actual John Parr in the cupboard. You not realize he hasn't made anything for years? I've got the fucker over there. Occasionally I get him to stick his hand out and give it a thing. And he goes.
It's a weekly hand rub.
I give him an apple and he's happy. He's very happy, yeah.
For those who are watching, wondering what the fuck we're talking about, you obviously have not watched some of the early episodes of the UK Connection. So I'd say go back into the library and get caught up. Oh my god.
Anyhow, now I'm lost. Was that 4? Yeah. 3 I'm going to go with Rescue Me, or Babe, I'm going to Leave You, in the Led Zeppelin kind of style. It's pretty epic, like it. So muscular and so tough, but not young.
No.
Rescue Me. I'm telling Stephen I know. Yeah, it's a tune. It's definitely a tune. And my 2 is 2. I've nearly made it, haven't I? I'm a genius. I've got my 2 is Hungry for Love. Yes, indeed. Really cool, fun opener. It's got the depth of the puddle, hasn't it? Let's be brutally honest.
Hungry for rock, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that as well. Sorry, yeah, you're right. Don't know why. I have actually written Hungry for Love. I must be on a white snake kick or something. Yeah, Hungry for Rock. Yes, indeed. It's fun. I love the outro and the ad libs towards the end. Yeah. Even rock needs some rock. And really, how wise that is. We all need to rock a little bit more in our lives, don't we? Yeah. Just to win it. If you were to sit down and write a parody of an early 80s rock song, you'd probably come up with Hungry for Rock, as I like to call it. Yeah. And it's probably what you'd come up with, isn't it? And especially, everybody, do you need some rock? I need some rock. We need some rock. Let's get some rock. Yeah. Let's rock out, shall we? Yes.
Def Leppard did that, I think.
Let's get rocked. Let's pretend that never happened, shall we? And the world's suddenly a better place. But anyway, those are my 4, 3, and 2. I really shouldn't be allowed to have anything to do with numbers.
We love.
I'm left with number 1, though, aren't I?
Yes.
Right. So number 4, I have got Hurricane. We're all different on this, and I'm okay with that because everything on this album is good. I like that. I think it was Simon that mentioned it. If any song lives up to its name, it's Hurricane. It's fast, it's furious, it's swirling, it's got real intent. And the guitar attack, I mean, Meniketti, I mean, and Alves plays a part, obviously, we haven't mentioned him at all, but it goes for the throat right from the start. There's little runs, there's motifs, it all just kind of jumps out and grabs your attention. But the bass work is excellent as well. It pins it to the floor. This is a proper band really operating at the peak of its powers. Do you know, because Leonard Hayes is just pummeling away. It's a stunning assault. And then you've got a guitar solo that is a little bit more cultured, I would suggest, than elsewhere. And then it just builds up and fires once more. It's fantastic. It's song construction, it's dynamics, it's really good. This is as close to me as that kind of heavy metal thing that I read bandied about them, which really surprised me because I would never have classed them as that. Number 3, Hungry for Rock. I love an album that opens with a real statement of intent.
Yeah.
And that's what Hungry for Rock is. Same again, and I'm just repeating myself because the drums are so good. Harlan drums, it's a gritty riff. I'm hungry for rock. The vocals are brilliant. The vocals are absolutely brilliant on that track and throughout. Do you know, I mean, it's simple but it's effective. I mean, Dave is hungry for rock and he's ready to roll. Or roll. That is definitely what he's ready for. There's no two ways about it. Do you know? But the thing is, it sells it. I'm being a bit flippant, but it sells it. The way that he sings the song absolutely sells it. When you sit and analyse it, you go, that's silly. But man, oh man, is it effective. Do you know, it is, by the end of it, I'm hungry for rock. I'm ready to roll. It's so good. So good. And number 2, I Believe in You. Yeah, half this song, as George would say, George Lemay would say, is the softie. Do you know? But wow, it's still got a killer chorus, it's got a great vocal, and from the 3 minutes 30 point onwards, so basically halfway through the song, the pace just picks up. And then Leonard Hayes comes in and he starts to pound for all his life. And Meniketti is just wringing the neck out of that guitar. Do you know, the last 3 minutes of this song, it's just a rapid build into like a tom thumping guitar howling crescendo. The whole thing, there's 3 minutes of build. It's just intense. Do you know, it's teasing you. It's like a live show. There are so many false endings that you think, and we're done it, we're off again. And it's just such a way to close an album. I really love this construction. This album starts with a song that goes wallop, and it finishes with a song that kind of makes you go, oh yes, it's nice. And at the end of it, you go, oh, how fantastic is that? So yeah, love it. Really good.
Here I was hoping and praying that we would all have the same number 1, but not quite to be. That's okay. That's all right. My number 4 is Rescue Me. This is kind of part power ballad, part heavy rocker. Does both really good. I love the slow build of this. I mean, Dave's melodic and very emotional vocals, I think, are just spot on. The headbanging chorus is great. I like Moody Y&T quite a bit, as my number 1 will kind of showcase. But I think Rescue Me is terrific. Number 3 is Dirty Girl. Grinding, heavy, love the catchy chorus, bluesy guitar licks all over the place. Again, his vocals are great. And how about the Phil Kennemore big fat bass lines that run throughout this song and quite a few songs on this album, right? It's always really good when you listen to a rock album or hard rock album from this time period where you really hear that bass on more than a couple songs. And I give them credit for doing that. I think Dirty Girl is fantastic, lyrics notwithstanding. And my number 2, man, Hungry for Rock. What an opener. What a crushing riff. His vocals are snarling. The guitar soloing is great. Killer chorus. Again, a song like this is what I wanted from like that second Montrose album. And again, there are some good, I hate to keep harping on the Montrose thing, but to me, there's so many similarities between this album and what I think should have been the follow-up album to the self-titled Montrose album. And I love Hungry for Love. I think it's great. It's cliche as all hell, but I don't give a shit. It's just amazing. So Simon, talk to me, my friend. You and me, number 1, we got the same one.
I think we're right, aren't we, Pete? I think we're very much on the same page together.
Steven's not playing on this one. Steven's not playing.
He doesn't have ears, so it's okay.
I certainly do.
It was his number 2, though. I'll give him that. So it's got to be up there, right? Yeah.
Still close yet so far. I believe in you as my number 1. For those of us playing bingo, this is the one that I can't believe it wasn't a hit. Maybe it's because they wouldn't truncate it, because they said, as Stephen so correctly points out, the second half of this song is just awesome. It's just so good. You know, I just can't add to what Stephen said about it, the guitars, the drums, and everything. But what you can see is a progression from Hungry for Rock, throwaway shit. And I don't mean it's a bit, so this, wow. Just wow, it's just really, really great. And again, even though it goes on for what is it, 6-7 minutes, something like that,
Yeah.
It disappears, and you think, oh, go on, just play a bit more. Go on, you've got a little bit more in you. And I've never seen them. I'm guessing they bring the prog dildo out and play it for about 38 minutes live. Am I right?
It's their free bird. It's their free bird, pretty much.
Is it really? Yeah. So well, good idea, because it is just really, really, really good. And how often, certainly these days, how often you get deep into the second half of an album, especially maybe if it's on Frontier's record or something like that, I think, oh God, this is dull. Oh God, there's 14 tracks on this. I'm on track 8 and I want to die. But 10 songs, 41 minutes, best ones at the end. Wow, I love it. I sold to the man who went to Ramsbottom.
There you go.
The ultimate accolade, I would suggest. Dave Meniketti will be breathing easy. Yeah, I mean, okay, so I've not got the same number 1. I view this album as excellent throughout. There are songs that I really like and songs that I absolutely love. And I've always viewed I Believe in You and Rescue Me as the pinnacle. They're the two. If I think of this album, these are the songs that I think about. So which was number 1 and which was number 2? It could swap, but I'll stick with Rescue Me. I just think that we've touched on how good Dave is as a singer. But that, I want you, and I want you, I want you. That is much better than I'm making it sound in my head. That is just fantastic.
I nearly threw you a cookie then.
Did you? Oh, I wish I'd kept going then. Anything but a cookie, me. I just, vocally, it's just spot on. It's just really, really good. I like the acoustic opening. Do you know, and there's crying guitars on this. What a talent Meniketti is, all the way through it. Songwriter, singer, guitarist. The arrangements on this album are really good. It's just fantastic. It's, you know, I mean, you go from really clean vocals to kind of raspy howl. He's covering everything right the way through. And as I've said already, this band could always write a chorus. What a chorus. It's just phenomenal. Do you know? This is great, what I would class as US hard rock. And as I said right at the top, I've always viewed this and Black Tiger, maybe not quite so much Mean Street, because things had really started to change a little bit by that point. They are a bridge between 70s hard rock and then what the US would start to move into in the 80s. I kind of wonder if Y&T were kind of caught between the two. 70s rock was on the way out by the time that this album was hitting. And by the time that the kind of 80s, I mean, they did call it metal back then, the 80s metal scene has started to come in. They were already kind of, I think, viewed a little bit as, were they not doing this 5 years ago? Do you know? And I think that just timing is unfortunate in many ways in that sense. Although, I mean, it's not that this is a debut album, and the first two are really good as well. Really, really good.
Yeah, they are.
Really good. I mean, we've spoken about what came after. There's a lot of people that prefer the first two albums. And I can see why, to be fair, because they're fantastic as well. But yeah, Rescue Me is just my favourite off this album. It probably has been for decades now. So too late to change it.
You know, it's interesting, some of the comments you made about why this band never really made it really, really big. I mean, you look at like 1987, right? The Whitesnake album, self-titled album. I mean, that was enormous. I'd argue that there's some stuff in this catalog right around that time period that's not all that much different. So why, is it because there weren't any hit singles, right? Maybe Summertime Girls was a little too bubblegumish, right?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Timing and career trajectory are a funny old thing, because I mean, we've spoken about Whitesnake at length, so I'm not going to labour on this point. But Whitesnake arrived with 1987 in the US as almost a brand new band. People who were, deep into the scene knew who Whitesnake were. But your average music buyer, your average rock fan in 1987 didn't know who Whitesnake were
Right.
in the US, but they did in the UK, which is why we were all, as we were when we did the Whitesnake favourite show, a bit snooty. Oh, look at them chasing the US dollar. Whereas the US audience went, wow, who are this band? Isn't this amazing? Y&T were known. So they had that history of this is who they were, this is what they're about. By the time they started to change it with Summertime Girls and then into the Contagious album, people were going, oh, they're just chasing the scene.
Yeah.
And I think there was a little bit of that about it, where they changed in kind of plain sight. Whitesnake got the chance to change unseen in many ways. And that's the difference. People don't like it when their favourite band starts to put on sparkly jackets and a bit of makeup and tease the hair and still play hard rock, but they add a little bit more of that kind of commercial sound. Keyboards came into it.
Yeah.
Whitesnake did all that behind the scenes and everyone went, love it.
Yeah.
That's my take.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. Well, my number one is I Believe in You, which has been my favorite Y&T song for a long, long time. It's one of my favorite kind of like ballads in this style. And like I said, I think it's a tremendous, tremendous song. I love the bluesy kind of Hendrixy style guitar licks, atmosphere in the beginning, and then it starts to build, and the chorus is big and heavy, and Dave's vocals are so emotional. And then, the chorus, every time I hear the chorus, it's simple, right? I believe in you, over and over and over again. And it's just like, it's so simple, but like I hear it and I'm like, oh my God, the backing vocals are so well done. And then he starts that solo and it just keeps going, and then it goes away and then it comes back again. And the chorus is there with the solo. And it's just like, I just listened to it again yesterday and it just sends chills up and down my spine. And I'm like, this fucking great. I love this song. And if you go listen to like live versions of it, because if you get some of the Y&T remasters, they throw like a killer live version, I think from Tokyo, or Japan or something, somewhere in Japan. And it's so good. It's even better than the studio version. So yeah, I mean, what a great guitar solo. What a great song. What a great chorus. I love it. But I think all the ones we mentioned at the top are all great. I mean, this whole album is really, really strong. So, and again, Simon, I'm going to make a plea to you. Go out and get Black Tiger and Mean Streak, and I think you will be all the happier for it. If you like this album, you'll like those quite a bit as well.
I'm a very happy person, really.
Good. Well, that's good. Well, you'll be even happier with a little more Y&T in your life, right?
Can't believe
I think everybody would be.
Look at my happy
Not just
face.
you, Simon. Everybody.
All right, Steven, you want to give everybody a heads up on what's coming up next? This is like the only show where we consistently tell people what's coming next. I need to stop hiding all this stuff. I'm
In 2 weeks' time, I shall let everyone know, including Simon.
I know what's coming. I actually know.
Have you got it written down?
I can do this.
Are you sure?
It's a melodic rock show.
So, because you said earlier on that not even you could fuck up, and then you got the song title wrong. So, yeah. Are you 100% certain that you can not?
Billy Squire. It's Billy Squire, isn't it?
Oh, look at this. Okay, Simon, what's happening in 2 weeks' time on the show?
Well, we've got Billy Squire, Emotion. Yeah, we've got Romeo's Daughter. Emotion. I'll dig John out of the cupboard and ask him about how he enjoyed producing some of that record. Yes, indeed. And I believe we've also got Uriah Heep's Equator.
That's a star-studded lineup of 3 cool albums right there, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. I remembered that all myself like a big boy.
Yeah, that's it. So one of them's a classic melodic rock album, one of them is an underground classic, and one of them is they made an AOR album, which is a concept that seemed to get lost on some viewers when we did the show a few weeks back. So when we get to Uriah Heep on that show, we know that they're not an AOR band.
But they did an AOR album.
He really did as well.
That'll be a lot of fun. So, and just so everybody knows, we actually have our schedule of what we're doing each and every episode mapped out through to the end of the year. we just kind of finalized that the other day. But yeah, unlike some of the other shows on the channel where it's like we're kind of scrambling every week or every other week, we're I want to thank Steven for that because he's really good about that. We've got all the shows, and we have a couple of other new things that we're going to be introducing into the UK Connection that'll deviate a little bit from the three themes that we normally do. So stay tuned for more on that in the coming weeks. So yeah, so we're going to mix it up, and that'll be really good as we move into 2024, which, Jesus Christ, is not that far away, to kind of add some new complexities to the UK Connection schedule. So yeah, so stay tuned for more information on that. Once again, please go down to the link in the video description to our merch page. You can get a very cool All the Damn Time shirt, or you can get an even cooler UK Connection shirt, which is brand new, hot off the presses, available in the merch store. You can order it directly from our website, or you can go over to Amazon and get it there as well if that's a little bit easier for you. We ship all over the world, so wherever you live, well, we can get it to you. And this is on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already. This beer is awesome, and I'm already feeling it because it's 7.5 and I'm a lightweight. Where did I leave off? I don't even remember. Anyway, yes, this is on the web and all that good stuff. And we'll see you here in 2 weeks on the UK Connection. For Simon Bray and Steven Reid, I am Pete Pardo. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Let us know how you rank the songs on this Y&T classic album. It is indeed a classic as far as I'm concerned. And we'll see you next time here on the UK Connection for more melodic rock AOR albums. Till then, for Simon and Steven, I am Pete. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.